Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday and welcome to this educational presentation. Now, today we're going to talk to you about something that I actually use on a daily basis. I've been using now for over 4 decades, and this is the dynamic duo of trading. These are two of our methods that, when they're combined together, really form this synergy for success. Let me share with you what I mean here. Let's look at this chart in ZS. As we can see, it's been going up, right? Has a nice short-term uptrend, but then all of a sudden, it changes course and decides to go down. So this is what confuses traders. We say, well, are we in an uptrend or are we in a downtrend? Should I buy? Should I sell? Well, here's the beauty of the dynamic duo. The first edge in this combo would have actually told you that it generated a buy signal, in fact, right here. And that the second edge would have confirmed that buy signal, telling you that it was okay to actually take that trade. And then look what happened in the following days. It was up 25 points. So this is what, once again, we're going to be talking about today. And this is actually something I use on a daily basis. This is the dynamic duo of trading. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, gosh, do I have to study a lot of forms and figures and look at a lot of patterns and things? Well, sure, we teach you everything in the course, what to actually look for and how to actually trade this. But the beauty of our course is that everything is tied in with our platform, the PTS Primo Charting platform. I developed this with proprietary strategies to actually teach you how to trade and to make it simple to learn all of our different methods and strategies. So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for 47 years. I started trading on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of them I was a specialist. So that's where we get the name Specialist Trading. Specialist is someone who made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So in the old days, if you wanted to buy or sell a stock, there was no such thing as electronic trading. You had to actually call up a floor broker who would walk up to the trader who specialized in making a market in that particular stock. So that's what I did. I was a specialist during the crash of '87 and the bull market that followed. So I've traded just about every conceivable method or technique you can think of. And about 15 years ago, I teamed up with ProTrader Strategies with one goal in mind, and that was simply to educate traders all the things I've accumulated in my 47 years of trading, things that actually have high levels of consistency. Because it's our goal to teach you these things so that you can be on your own and so that you can take charge of your trading for the very first time. And you'll see in today's educational class how we really give a lot of that attention to detail. Now, before we begin, we are required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results by applying this dynamic duo, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, I see there's a lot of returning names and faces in the list of participants today, but there are also some new people that are continually asking, well, how do I get more information on a daily basis? Well, the best way to do that is to follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there, Twitter or X, whatever you like to call it. Every day I post different information, bits of financial wisdom and actual signals that our strategies have generated. So lots of great free information on a daily basis if you follow us on Twitter. Also, currently, right now, we are being live streamed live on YouTube. So if you're familiar with YouTube, you'd rather see us there and see a lot of our past videos, please feel free to watch us on that and hit the subscribe button. So you'll see a lot more of us in future presentations. Now, remember, we are an educational company. So what does that mean? Well, a lot of people say, well, yeah, I thought everyone is an educator. Well, not really, because most webinars you attend or most seminars you've gone to in the past, someone is always telling you what to do and how you should trade, what the perfect stock is, what the perfect time frame is, what market you should be trading because it's going to bust out, or what market you should stay away from because it's going to drop out of bed. They're always telling you what they think should be happening. And the trouble is, we're all taught to follow them blindly. I know I did when I first started trading. And we're just basically giving our power away to people who really don't have a better advantage than us. Sure, they may have a greater insight and more knowledge, but you see, everyone should trade according to their own means. In other words, this strategy or these ideas that maybe someone is telling you on the internet or on YouTube or whatever is good for them, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you. I found this out the hard way because many times I would follow when I was struggling, when I first started trading over 4 decades ago, someone would have a master system and then I would purchase it for thousands of dollars and find out that it has about one trade every 2 or 3 months. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I can't wait to do that. And then other systems I spend money on, tens of thousands of dollars, it would have maybe 30 or 40 trades a day in order to get the type of results you want with a large risk associated with this. And I said, I can't trade that way. So in other words, a lot of these traders are talking about things that fit them. What I have found in my nearly 5 decades of trading is that everyone has to find their own way. You have to find out what makes you feel comfortable. Someone may have a large account size and may say, listen, I can trade. I don't mind taking large losses. I have over $1 million to trade with. Someone else could say, listen, I only have $5,000. I can't take these large account size risk parameters or else I'll lose everything. So you have to find out what works for you. Here's the good news. We formulated specialist trading with that goal in mind, simply to teach you things and give you all these different variables so that you can decide what works best for you. And then you're on your own. We're not going to be here telling you what to buy or sell. We're not going to tell you what market to trade. That's up to you to find because now you've got the tools and the methods to do that. So my goal is not to force feed you signals, not to tell you what to buy or sell. My goal is to teach you how to identify these things on your own. That's with the specialist edge. This is the same edge I was taught nearly 5 decades ago, and what I teach all of my students around the world. Hopefully, it will be able to sustain you as well. Now, we have a good crowd here today. As I always announce before my presentations, please, if you have any questions, kindly wait till the end of class. I promise I'll get to each and every one of them, and we'll spend the last 5 or 10 minutes answering questions. Also, this is being recorded, so if you have any questions or if you have to leave early or if you're having technical issues, don't worry. Each and every one of you will be sent a link to this recording so you can watch it at your own leisure, okay? All right, with that stated, let's begin today's educational class. And we're going to be talking about the dynamic duo of trading. So let's get right into it. What exactly is this dynamic duo? Well, it's a combination of two of our most consistent methods plotted together. We have found out that they really form this synergy for success. So let's get into it. What's the first one? The first one is strategy number 4. Now, I've talked about this before in past presentations. It's probably our most consistent strategy. Once again, a strategy I've been trading for 47 years. I use on a daily basis. But let's tell you about some of the highlights in case you're not familiar with strategy 4. It's a pattern recognition strategy. In other words, we're looking for a pattern that repeats itself in all markets and in all time frames over and over again. And it's designed for traders looking to catch momentum. It's a momentum type of play. And it only uses one indicator. Now, guess what? There are only 4 rules to strategy number 4. We're going to share 2 of them with you. So you'll know half of the rules to this method. I can't give you all of them away for free today. It wouldn't be fair to our students around the world who are trading and who have purchased strategy 4. But I'll give you half of the rules today. Okay? Rule number 1. Buy or sell signals can only be entered above or below the 50-period simple moving average. So what does that mean? Well, in other words, if you get a buy signal with strategy number 4, it will always be above the 50-period moving average. That's the only place you'll be looking to buy. And if you get a sell signal, it'll only be below the 50-period moving average. So that when you're looking to identify, when we teach you in the course how to identify this pattern and all the rules, you'll know that, well, price is below the 50, so I should be looking only for sell signals. Or if price is above the 50, now I'm only looking for buy signals. You will never be doing the opposite. In fact, probably one of the main reasons why you've lost money in the past and why your strategy hasn't worked is because you are doing the opposite. I know this, once again, from firsthand experience. I used to always buy below the 50 before I even knew about it and sell above. And every once in a while it would work. I'd have some great trades, but most of the time I would give everything back. So you'll be tremendously more consistent if you follow rule number 1. Now, let me share with you what that looks like, okay? As we see, price is above the 50-period moving average, so the overall trend is up. If the overall trend is up, we're only looking for this pattern that generates buy signals. We'll never look to short or to sell. Sure, we'll look to sell, maybe to exit a position with a profit, hopefully, but we're not looking to sell short, in other words. We're not betting against it to go down. And conversely, if price is below, well, the overall trend is down. So we're not looking at all to buy anything. We're looking to sell or to go short. Now, this brings us to rule number 2. Buy or sell signal bars must close in either the top or bottom 25% of their range. So what does this mean? Well, it means if you are above the 50-period moving average, you want to see a bar, whatever time frame, whatever market, close in the top quarter of its range. If you are below the 50-period moving average, you want to see a bar close in the bottom 25% of its range. So in other words, we're above the 50 once again. We see 2 bars closing in the top 25%. That's the top quarter. And look what happens directly after. Sure, this went up about 5 bars, but then all of a sudden we had one down, big down bar. So someone would say, well, Steve, gosh, I could have sold that and gone short. Yes, but you would have had to been very quick because look what happened, right? Again, the next bar closed in the top 25% and it went up. So see, it pays much better to actually be more consistent with the market and be in sync with the overall and the short-term trend as opposed to trying to pick a top or a bottom. Same thing applies right here. We are below the 50. So we look for bars that close in the bottom 25%. And look what happened after that. You see, sure, you can try and pick a top or a bottom every once in a while, being on the opposite side of the 50-period moving average. And every once in a while, it'll work. And you'll think, hey, boy, why should I listen to this guy, Steve Primo? Because I just bought below the 50 and I made a ton of money. Because it's been my experience and the way my mentors taught me over time, like the slot machines in Las Vegas, they're designed to have you there because you'll give all of your money eventually back. If you keep doing the same thing, you'll give all of your money back. And that's the same thing with buying below the 50 and selling above the 50. All right, so those are the first 2 rules of strategy number 4. Now, let me share with you an old example here of how strategy number 4 works. All right, as we can see here, price is above the 50-period moving average. Now, price initially bounced, and now it starts to pull back. And this is where people would say, well, Steve, gosh, I could have sold it. Sure, but remember, you want a higher probability signal. And now we see that this bar closes in the top 25%. We only had one close below. But now we close in the top 25%. And guess what? The remaining 2 rules of the strategy were met. So this is a valid strategy number 4 buy signal. And look what happened, 18 points in the following month, okay? Now, if you notice, none of this was based on news. Nothing had to do with economic indicators. Nothing had to do with going to a chat room and listening to some guy tell you what he thinks you should buy or sell. For the first time, you are putting the power in your hands and you're making a decision based on this pattern that you now know how to identify that repeats itself over and over again. Now, here's another example. Here's a weekly chart in Workday, okay? Kind of the same process here. We're bouncing above the 50-period moving average. Now we start to sell off, but remember, this is a buying opportunity because we are still above the 50-period moving average. And as we come down, we see we have a bar here that closes in the top 25%, and it closes above the 50, even though it intersected it, that's okay. So this is a valid buy signal because the remaining 2 rules were met. But this didn't work at all. In fact, you would have lost 50 points if you held on to this for a week or so. Now, at this point, you're probably ready to throw your computer out the window and you say, I want a refund. This stuff doesn't work. Well, this brings us to the second portion of the dynamic duo. This is the PET D, and we're going to apply this as a confirmation tool. See what the PET D color bar tool is going to do? It's going to confirm whether we should take the strategy for signal or not. So now we've just upped our level of consistency. As we look here at this older chart of ATER, okay, the market is going straight down, all right? So someone would say, well, Steve, I don't need the PET D to tell me the trend is down. Well, sure, but look what happens. Most likely at this point right here, this is where most traders are convinced it's going lower. They sell or they exit their position just in time for it to bounce all the way back up to new highs, okay? So how could the PET D have helped us? Well, this is a color bar tool. It's a proprietary algorithm, something I learned from my days on the floor. We've made it simple for you, though. We've developed it into a color bar tool. Well, all you have to do is on our platform, click on PET D, and it automatically changes the colors of the platform, of the bars, on the platform. Now, when you see a series of red bars, the way you see here, it's telling you you're in a short-term downtrend. So we knew well in advance that this was going lower. And even though the PET D isn't designed to pick the top or the bottom, it is the most sensitive trending tool I know of. Because right here, when you had a series of green bars, very close to the low, it was telling you it wanted to go higher. And then look what happened. So as it says, the beauty of the PET D is that it tells you which direction you should be trading. And once you know, you can confirm if your strategy is in sync with that direction. So how are we going to apply the PET D with strategy 4? Well, when we do, we call the combination the dynamic duo, because once we put these two together, you will not only increase your odds for consistency, trading will become a lot simpler, and you'll be much more, I would just say, in tune with the flow of what the market wants to do. All right, so these are the rules when you apply the dynamic duo. If a strategy number 4 buy signal is generated, you should only trade the signal if the setup bar, that's the bar above the green arrow, is colored green by the PET D. In other words, it's confirming the strategy number 4 signal. Now, there may be a ton of bars before it that are colored green, a ton of bars before it or after that are colored red. It makes no difference. All we're concerned with is the bar, the setup bar, the bar above the green buy arrow. Now, conversely, if a strategy number 4 sell signal is generated, we only want you to trade the signal if the setup bar is colored red by the PET D. That is the bar that is below the red arrow, the signal bar arrow. So let me show you what I mean here. Let's go back and look at that ZS we looked at the beginning of the presentation. Okay, we are above the 50. We have our bar here that was a buy signal that closed in the top 25%. So we have a strategy 4 buy signal. Now, we already know that this is a highly consistent method. We could trade this on its own. But if we want to kick up that consistency, if we want to raise it up a level, we apply the PET D. And this is how simple it is on our platform. Click on the PET D, in this case right here in the upper left-hand corner, and it'll automatically change the colors of the bar. Now, what color is the setup bar? That's the bar above the green arrow. It's colored or outlined green. So what is that dynamic duo telling us? It's telling us that it confirmed this, and you have a valid dynamic duo buy signal and a highly consistent method for trading. So this is a high probability setup. You have the confidence now to take this, and it went up 25 points coming into the first week or second week of July. See how simple this was? Once again, you're learning how to make your own decisions. You don't have to go to a chat room. That's one of the things with Specialist Trading, my company. We don't believe in chat rooms because, once again, that's a crutch. We're taking the power away from you. We're telling you what to do. Or if you have other traders in the room, you're listening to what they did and say, hey, I want to do what he does. How does he do that? Let me copy him. That should never be the case. You should find your way and trade according to your own means. Our job as a mentor is to provide you with these things and help you develop that way. All right, let's look at those other examples we looked at. Remember, we had a buy signal right here, one bar below, but that's not enough, even though we closed the next bar above in the top 25%. So it's a valid strategy number 4 buy signal. But we want to take it up to the next level, so we apply the PET D, click it on our platform, and we see that it's outlined green. So that's a valid dynamic duo setup, meaning that it's a highly probability signal. So we can take this with confidence if we want to. Remember, it's up to you. It's not a system. You don't have to take every trade. It's up to you. And look what happened. 18 points coming to the end of the month. Now, let's look at that other example we looked at. This is the one in Workday. It's a weekly chart. Kind of looks the same, right? We're rallying, and then we start to sell off and bounce back to the 50-period moving average, all right? This is a buying opportunity. We have a strategy number 4 buy setup, but we want to take it to the next level, so we apply the PET D, automatically colors the bars. Now, if we have this colored green, we're going to take this weekly trade. But what color is it? It's outlined red. So this is telling us that strategy 4, the pattern is recognized. It's right there. But the PET D, the short-term color bar tool, is not recognizing it. It is not confirming it. So what does this mean? Well, it's not a valid dynamic duo setup, so we're not going to take the trade, and therefore we would not have lost 50 points. So you see the power of the dynamic duo. This is the beauty behind this, because you have a highly consistent method, but then you take it up a notch and apply the PET D, and now we have the makings of an extremely consistent way of trading. This is why I trade this way every day. I trade this intraday on E-mini bars, but you can trade it on currency pairs. You can trade it on futures. You can trade it on crypto. It makes no difference. Weekly bars, tick bars, range bars. It makes no difference what market, what time frame, and what direction. That's the beauty of the dynamic duo. I know a lot of other traders say, well, yeah, this is a perfect system for stocks, but if you want to trade another market, well, it doesn't work very well in that. No, if something is good, it should be able to transfer onto all markets and all time frames, and that's what the dynamic duo does. Now, what I want to do is show you some more examples and share with you some more examples that are dynamic duo signals. Okay, and we're going to be looking at how they appear on our platform, the PTS Primo Charting platform that teaches you how to trade with a dynamic duo because it's so simple. Everything is one click away. Now I'm going to toggle over onto our platform, but please take a moment one last time to look at our disclaimer because I'm going to show you a lot of performance results on our platform using the dynamic duo of Strategy 4 and the PET-D. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results you're about to see will be repeated in the future. And remember, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. All right, so we are at the platform right now. Let's look at this chart. This is a chart in AMD coming into last month. It's about 3 or 4 weeks old, okay? All right, the first thing we want to do is apply the 50-period moving average because that tells us whether we should have been a buyer or a seller. That's the indicator under Strategy 4. You see, here's the Strategy number 4 tab on our platform. Just click that on, click on Indicator, and we see here that we're kind of oscillating above and below. But that's okay because the majority of the closes are above, and the ones that close below don't really close in the bottom 25%. Now, we think that we see a valid Strategy number 4 signal because we teach you what to look for, how to identify this pattern, okay? As we see all the bars that close in the top here, this bar closed in the top 25%. In order to validate to see if that is, all you have to do is check your work, click on Strategy 4, click on Signal Arrow, and guess what? You're right. So you're for the first time learning how to identify your own signals. You don't have to go to a chat room or listen to some guy on TV. You can make your own decision. Okay, so there was a buy signal on the 2nd of July. Now, as you can see, it worked out pretty well, but if we wanted to take it up a notch, we would have just applied the PET-D. Come here, click on the PET-D, click on Fill, and yes, it was a dynamic duo setup because it was colored green. And in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, in less than 1 week, you could have potentially captured upwards of 23 points. Now, in the course, we teach you different exit levels. We teach you how to stay in the trade if you like. We teach you how to get in and out quickly if you want. We teach you different stop placements to have a large amount of risk, a very small amount of risk, how to track the trade. Remember, our job is to provide you with these things, kind of a buffet table of information so that you can pick and choose what you want for your own trading, okay? Let's look at another example here in Charter. Same process applies. The first thing we do is come to Strategy 4, click on the indicator, which is the 50-period, and obviously, this is above the 50. Now, if someone would have said, hey, well, Steve, that guy in that chat room said to sell here, how would that have worked out for you? Remember, you will have a higher level of consistency if you only look to buy when price is above the 50. But it's not enough just to see price above the 50. You have to have some structure. And so the structure is in the form of Strategy number 4. So we think we see a buy signal here. Check our work. Yes, there is a buy signal right here. This was on the 23rd of July, just about a month or so ago. Now, you could have easily taken that signal, but let's ramp it up a notch. Click on PET-D, and yes, it was colored green. Had you taken that signal, well, that's 60 points in the next 5 days that you could have potentially captured. Now, here's the funny thing. 2 days after the signal was generated, look what happened. It gapped up, probably based off some news or some event, right? Isn't it funny how this is not based on any news? The PET-D is not based on any fundamental information. The Strategy number 4 pattern is not based on any economic earnings or reports. It's because the market tells you everything you need to know. You really don't need to follow that stuff. What I'm telling you right now is the same thing my mentors told me over 4 decades ago. And it was hard to give up following news and going to chat rooms and trading rooms because at that time, that's the way I was taught as well. But once I did let go, that trading became a lot simpler. And it was such a relief to take that monkey off my back, knowing that, well, I didn't have to figure out if these earnings were good or bad. It doesn't matter because the strategy is telling me in advance that most likely it's going higher. Let's look at CTAS. Okay, a valid strategy number 4 signal here. Firstly, there was a valid strategy number 4 signal 2 days before that. Now, had you taken that signal with a very tight stop, you would have most likely been stopped out. Okay, so you would have lost, I would say, probably about maybe 5 points. But look what happened here. See, most traders, excuse me, once they take a loss, they get scared and they say, well, I'm not going to trade anymore. I can't afford to take another loss. But that's the beauty of strategy 4. It's extremely consistent, meaning that many times it can make back a loss on the very next setup. So you would have probably lost about 5 points here. Maybe you had 100 shares. But guess what? You had to get back on the horse on this trade because it's another valid strategy for dynamic duo setup. And you could have potentially made 67 points coming into the end of July. So you could have made back that 5 or 6 points easily and then potentially had a profit. REGN, here's a buy signal right here. First day of August, coming into last week, yesterday, I believe, that was already 90 points potentially you could have captured. ORLY, look at this first 2 signals. We are above the 50. These are 2 valid strategy 4 buy signals, but what color are they? They're both outlined red. So it wasn't being confirmed by the PET-D. So guess what? Had you taken these signals, well, you would have most likely had to sit around and wait for a couple of weeks. But look at this one. This was the one to take because it was outlined green by the PET-D, meaning it's a dynamic duo setup. And you only had to wait 3 days before it took off. And potentially you could have captured over 100 points. Now, I know these are expensive stocks, some of these, but doesn't mean you have to actually purchase the stock. You could have purchased options. Here's a monthly chart just to show you that this can be applied to any time frame. Here's a monthly chart of Costco. Once again, a buy signal was generated right here. This was in June of 2022, okay? But it was not valid because the PET-D outlined it red, so you would not have taken that setup. But look what happened here just about 5 or 6 months later. A valid dynamic duo setup was right here in the first month of January, 2023. And we've gone straight up ever since. Almost 400 points you could have potentially captured coming into this month. Now, here's an example of how the dynamic duo can actually keep you out of trouble because sometimes the best trades are the ones you never take. Here are 2 strategy number 4 signals that were generated in TEAM, team. But what color are they outlined? They're both outlined red. So the PET-D was telling you this is not a valid dynamic duo signal. I would not take these trades. And even though we didn't go down right away, we kind of went sideways for a week. Look what happened here. Once again, some news or some event happened where the stock gapped down and you could have potentially lost, if you did go long, oh gosh, tens of points here, 170 all the way down to 135, roughly about 30, maybe even 40 points you could have lost. But it's funny how all the information was already given to you a full week or 2 in advance. Let's look at BIIB now. We looked at buy signals. Let's look at some sell setups, okay? Do the same process. Once again, come up to strategy 4, click on indicator. And right here, we have actually most of the closes are below. We only have one that's just very, very tiny amount above, but the majority are below. Okay, even though we intersect, that's okay. It's where you close that matters. And the majority of them are closing below. Now, we want to look for bars that close in the bottom 25%. This one did, but as I can see, the pattern does not match there. But this one looks like the pattern did match. So let's check it out. Check my work. I was wrong. It was this one. See how you have to check your work? This was the strategy 4 sell signal. Okay? So, seeing this, it did eventually go down, but if I wanted to really be confident about this, then I simply add the PET-D. And yes, the PET-D was red, giving you the confirmation to go ahead and take this. Even though we gapped lower, it's okay to go short this trade right here. And you could have still potentially captured upwards of 15 points. Let's look at TTWO, okay? Take Two Interactive. All right, it was kind of going sideways for a couple of weeks, and then it fell out of bed. Did the market tell us what to do? Well, let's look at the indicator. Yes, the entire time it was going sideways, we were below the 50. You see, this is why I say someone in a chat room or on TV can say, hey, we're building a base here. This is where all the institutions are buying. But if you know the simple tool of applying the 50-period moving average, you'll say, I'm not going to take that bait because I know the market is telling me, not some guy on TV. The market is telling me it wants to go lower. So I'm not going to buy anywhere here, even though he's telling me that the institutions are buying at this support level. And now you're looking for bars that close in the bottom 25%. Here's one right here, but it doesn't meet the rules of the pattern. Here's another one. We have some more. So let me check and see which one was a strategy 4 sell signal. Click on signal arrows, and this one was. Okay, so in and of itself, that's a valid strategy 4 signal. But if you wanted to ramp it up a notch, all you have to do is click on the PET D, and now it's giving you the confidence. Remember, it does not make any difference what the bars are before or after. All that matters is the color of the bar below the red arrow, in this case, a sell signal, or above the green arrow, in that case, a buy signal. So it's a valid dynamic duo sell signal. And look what happened in the following days. The stock fell out of bed. So you could have potentially captured, once again, 15 points. Now, what happens if you would have thought that that was a support level? You would have lost a lot of money. This is why most traders fail, because you're listening to outside sources to tell you how to trade. I know this from firsthand experience because that's what I did my first year of trading, and I couldn't make a dime. So I finally learned the great secret is no two traders should ever trade alike. You have to find your own way. But don't worry. We have tons of consistent strategies and ways in which to trade so that you can be in charge of your trading for the first time. DDOG, the same process here. We have a couple of closes above, but right back down, closes below. It's a valid 4 sell signal, and it's colored red. In the following weeks, the first week of August, you could have potentially captured 18 points to the downside. Let's look at MAR, Marriott, okay? Same principle applies. We are below. All the bars are red, but this is the one that matters. We just barely closed below the 50-period moving average, making this a valid strategy 4 sell signal that is also colored red. And look what happened. In the next 4 days, 4 days after the strategy, the stock fell 35 points. Now, a lot of our students don't like to go short. They feel uncomfortable, or they feel like they're betting against America. And that's okay. Remember, we're just an educator. We're not telling you how to buy or sell or what you should be trading. That's up for you to decide and how you want to trade. But a lot of our students like to use strategy 4 sell signals as a way to get out of their current trade. So let's say you were long Marriott, you could have used this to get out and saved yourself a 35-point loss. Let's look at Qualcomm, okay? We were above the 50-period moving average, so the overall trend was up, but with one bar closing below, strategy 4 sell signal was generated with the pattern, and it was outlined red. So this was a valid dynamic duo setup, and coming into August, Qualcomm fell, I believe, about 35 points as well. Microsoft, second to last example here, same process. Here's what I wanted to share with you again, how the PET D along with strategy 4 can really help you, because even though this is a valid strategy 4 buy signal, it was not confirmed. It was colored red. So you would not have lost any money. And you would have taken this one if you decided to do so, because this was a valid dynamic duo signal, and you could have potentially captured 40 points to the downside, either purchasing a put, maybe some strategy, option strategy with a downward bias. It's up to you. You're in charge of your trading. Lastly, let's look at a weekly chart of Lulu. Here again, we have 2 buy signals on the weekly chart. But what color are the bars as colored by the PET D? They're both red, so you would never have taken them. Now we have one large down bar, a weekly bar, and then followed by another one. They're both red. They're both closing below. They both meet all the requirements of a strategy 4 sell signal, and they're both valid dynamic duo sell signals. So this was a ton of information telling you either to get out of Lulu or to go short, because the stock, this was back in March of 20, when was this? Oh, this was this year, March. But on a weekly time frame, guess what? That was 155 points to the downside on weekly bars. So it makes no difference what market or what time frame. This is sharing with you how valid the dynamic duo can be and how it can really help your trading, okay? As we go back to the presentation, let's recap, okay, what we shared with you today. We share with you the two components of the dynamic duo. The first is strategy number 4. It's a pattern recognition method that I was first taught over 4 decades ago by my mentors on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I continue to use to this day, along with the second part of the combination, the PET-D, because I use this to confirm whether I should take the trade or not. The PET-D is a color bar tool. It's so sensitive because it analyzes on a tick-by-tick basis what the market wants to do. We call it the translator. And when you put these two together, you have what we call our dynamic duo of success because it really elevates your trading. Now, you can trade the dynamic duo the way I first had to years ago, using a hand calculator and everything and watching all the charts on a tick-by-tick basis, but we made it simple. We took all the hard work out for you. As you just saw, everything is one click away on our platform, the PTS Primo Charting platform. Now ask yourself, do you think these two keys can help your trading for the remainder of 2024, for the last roughly 4 months or so? I think your answer is yes. And because of that, we have a great attendee discount for all of you taking time out of your Wednesday to be here today. We're going to offer you strategy number 4 along with the PET-D tool. This is what we call our dynamic duo special. You'll get instant court access, detailed instruction. You'll learn all about the entries, the exits, and the stops. I didn't go over that today because, once again, it wouldn't be fair to give you all that free information. And we have people around the world who have actually purchased this method along with the PET-D. But you'll get all that information in the course, automatic buy and sell arrows as well. You'll get the entire course rules along with the PET-D. And guess what? Included with the PET-D, there are other ways to trade the PET-D. You'll get 4 more trading techniques that just rely on the PET-D itself. So if you want to trade just the PET-D on itself, we show you 4 different ways to do that as well. Okay. Now, I just shared with you how simple it is to apply all this on the platform. So we're going to throw in a full year of the platform, 12 months, absolutely free. Now, 12 months would normally cost you $17.65. We're taking that price all the way down to 0. 12 months, absolutely free. But you have to sign up and get this great offer. Okay. Now, on the platform, obviously, you'll get strategy number 4 along with the PET-D directional tool, but you'll also get auto-generated exit levels. This is just one of our exiting techniques that shares with you how to get out of a trade. You can decide to use this if you like. It's one click away. You'll get a strength of trend tool for these setups when the market just goes straight up or straight down. It tells you with really high accuracy if a trend has more strength left in it or if it's running out of steam. Over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators, along with what I feel is the best part, a signal scanner. You'll be able to scan on a nightly basis where these dynamic duo setups are, okay? So you can just, it probably takes you less than 1 or 2 minutes to scan the entire markets, the S&P 500, along with the NASDAQ, along with the S&P 100, the Dow Jones, or you can scan for a number of other markets that we give you the list for. We give you the list for ETFs. We also give you the symbol list for cryptocurrencies, also for currency pairs. Lots of, you can create your own list as well. But you can scan in less than a couple of minutes. You'll know exactly what the setups are for the next day. This is all included with the free 12 months of the PTS Primo Charting platform. Now remember, 2024 is more than half over. If you can believe that, what happened? It just was January, just a few minutes ago. It's more than half over. You owe it to yourself to finish the year off strong and in the right direction. I know a lot of you are probably really struggling. That's okay. I know exactly what that's like. I told you, I was on the floor. I had access to all this information, and I struggled for my first year, year and a half. It's extremely frustrating and very depressing because I know you're spending a lot of time and hard-earned money. You're not seeing the type of results you were promised. You owe it to yourself to finish the year off strong and in the right direction. Take advantage of this great offer I'm about to share with you, okay? Let's break it down. Our dynamic duo combo plus 12 months free of the charts. Now, strategy 4, if you purchased it by itself, would normally cost you close to $700. The PET-D, if you just purchased it by itself, would cost you close to $5,000. That's how popular and that's how valuable it is. And the PTS Primo Charts, as we shared with you, for a year would cost you roughly close to $1,800. So normally, if we didn't have this great special today, you'd be spending close to $7,500. Now, we wouldn't want to do that to you, okay? We know even if you're struggling, that's ridiculous. We don't want to have you spend that much money. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to slash that and give you a great discount, a one-time payment of less than $500, $497. That's all you have to do is come up with $497 and then just establish a payment plan with my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies, a payment plan of $97 a month. That's it. You can be up and running in this week with all the information that we have for you for the Dynamic Duo course, okay? And remember, you can also pay in full if you'd like. If you'd like to pay in full, we'll still discount it down from $74.55 down to $49.95. So you'll still save a ton of money. So two ways to purchase this great course, okay? You can either pay in full, $49.55, or a one-time payment of less than $500 and establish a payment plan of $97 a month. It's that simple, okay? Either way you decide to go, you're going to get a full year of the platform. So here's how to do this. Contact my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of all the discounts and all of the offers, and they're also in charge of setting up the payment plans with you as well as the tech support. I would highly recommend giving them a call at this number right here, 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones. They would be more than happy to answer any questions regarding pricing and regarding tech support, or just questions you may have about data or using the platform, okay? Now, that link you see at the very bottom will take you to the info page. It will also take you to the sign-up page if you'd like to sign up online, but it's not live, so we've just posted a live link in the chat box. So if you go to that little chat icon, click it on, and you'll see there's a live link right there, okay? Now, I promised you I would answer any question that you may have, so I'm going to leave this information up here if you'd like to copy it down or give them a call. I'm going to just go to the question and answer icon of the chat box, and I see there's already a question here. What is the output for the Dynamic Duo? I'm not really sure what you mean what the output is, okay? From DDUO, I'm not really sure what that means. If is that a stock, I'm not sure. You know, this is not a live process. I don't have the live charts up anymore right now. I kind of exited out of them. So if you want to email something to us, maybe we'd be able to look at it for you and then we get back to you, okay? Let's see, any other questions? But remember, this is all, you know, a lot of people have a difficult time, using something that is this simple, because myself included, I first started thinking that, well, the more complicated trading is, and the more I look at, numbers, and the more I look at, listen to some guys on TV and the earnings, then I'll be more successful, right? Well, if there's one thing I've learned in 47 years, it's actually the opposite. It's the simpler things that are actually more consistent than the complicated things. And if you want to make things complicated, if you want to have tons of indicators and stuff, I've been there. I know what that's about. And remember, my first year or two, I couldn't make a dime. So trust me, if you're on that road right now, it sounds like this customer may be having difficulty. This is what you need to know. Oh, so I see what they were saying. What is the success rate of the Dynamic Duo? Well, remember, in order to get a success rate, that means you have to systematize it. That means everyone has to trade the same way, the same market, the same time frame. You have to enter at the same exact place. You have to exit at the same exact place. You have to, this goes entirely against, I don't know if you came in late, but this goes entirely against the way we teach. Remember, as I stated at the beginning, everyone has to find their own way. No two traders should trade alike. So since we're an educational company and not a systematic company, there's no way to provide systematic research because we really don't believe in it. And one of the reasons I don't believe in it is because prior to formulating specialist trading, I used to trade systems. I also taught systems for other companies. And they went back 10 or 20 years with phenomenal results, maybe 80% winners, maybe some never having a major loss in the last 20 years. And guess what? When 2008 hit, all of those fantastic systems with the fantastic research and the fantastic success rates, they all blew up and they lost everything. So I learned a great lesson that really systematic trading doesn't work because you have to really become a part of the process. And one trader, as I said, may try to enjoy trading once a week, where another trader may want to trade 20 times a day. So we teach you how to enter, how to exit trading 20 times a day, which is entirely different for someone trading once a week. So therefore, we don't really believe in systematic or that type of success rate, because everyone should trade differently. Okay. But the good news is we're there with you. You can ask our past students. We're there with you all the time, working with you so that you can find what works best for you. Let's see here. Someone's asking, besides daily, what is the best intraday time frame to use with the duo? Well, I'm not trying to be facetious, but the best intraday time frame to use is the one that makes you feel the most comfortable, because we have students around the world in over 115 countries and in every state in the United States. And we have some students that say, gosh, Steve, I love your dynamic duo. It works fantastic on weekly bars. I love it. I've had a ton of winners. And then I have other students that say, Steve, it's the best on intraday trading on 5-minute time frame. It works fantastic. And so the answer is, you have to find out what works best for you. This goes back to what I was telling that other student, is that, we don't have systematic behavior because everyone has to find their own way. Now, the question after that is, does the software have a way of alerting you to a signal, or if not, maybe in the future? Yes, we have alert systems on the platform. That would be something to ask ProTrader Strategies, because they're in charge of the tech support. And yes, there should be an alert with a strategy telling you when a strategy has, or I should say, a signal has been generated or not. Let's see. What is the best results of the dynamic duo compared to weekly, daily, highly? Well, remember, we don't keep these results, as I told that other person, because you want me to compare a week to a day. That means they all have to trade the same way. But we have some people that trade a weekly entirely different based on that same pattern than someone trades a daily entirely different based on that same pattern. There's just no way to do that. I don't know if you understand that concept, but that's our whole philosophy. The one thing we teach our students is that no two traders should ever trade alike. And if you really fully understand that concept, then you'll never be able to get systematic results, because everyone should be trading differently according to their own means. So if you're having trouble following that, contact ProTrader Strategies. They would be happy to talk to you about more and show you different ways in which to apply the dynamic duo. Okay. Other questions. What if I'm having difficulty? Well, if you're having difficulty, everyone gets my private email address. This is not a black box where we just say good luck. You can contact me via email whenever you like, prior to the opening, after the close, during the market hours, or during the weekends. It makes no difference, okay? So that's the best way to make sure that you're on the right track, by personally calling me or via email, okay? Any more questions here? Someone's asking about the software. Yeah, if you have any questions concerning data, concerning anything about in terms of the actual platform and guidelines using that, or tech support, contact ProTrader Strategies. There's absolutely no obligation. They would be more than happy to answer your questions concerning that, and they can share with you examples if you're really interested. But please remember, this deal will not last a long time. If you're having difficulty and you're saying, well, I'll sit on this for a while and continue to trade your own method, and if you're struggling, well, guess what? A month from now, you're most likely maybe have to pay up to close to that $7,500. I would hate for anyone to spend that much money, because that would be the cost if you purchase it separately. So this deal is not going to last forever. So please take advantage of it if you're serious about trading strategy 4 along with the pet DA. All I can tell you is that this is a same method that I have been trading now for over 4 decades. And I'm still here, it's obviously that it works. And I know you probably heard that from other educators, but it's true. I use this today. Okay. And it's just, I use this intraday trading when I trade the E-mini futures. That's my market of choice. Now, I enter probably a different way that someone trading stocks would enter. I exit a different way probably that someone trading stocks would exit. But that's okay. Whatever makes you feel the most comfortable is what's going to make you consistent. Remember, we never want two traders to trade the same. If that works so well, the entire industry is based on that, on you purchasing somewhere where everyone's going to enter at the same place, exit the same place, get the same results, get the same success rates. If that works so well, if that type of knowledge works so well, why do 80 to 85% of all traders fail? Well, it doesn't work well. That's the answer. So the model is faulty. The real model is you should get the information and then you should work with someone to find how you trade it to make it fit your needs. Okay, that's why systematic trading doesn't work, in my opinion. That's why we don't come up with research numbers, because it's useless. Everyone should be trading according to their own means. Okay. Now, as we get ready to close here, I don't want to take all of your Wednesday up from trading. As we get ready to close, remember, contact Pro Trader Strategies. They can answer more questions about the platform, as well as setting up a pricing schedule for you if you want to develop a payment plan, or just any more questions about data, things of that nature. Give them a call at 310-598-6677, and they can answer the questions there. They have trading consultants. There's no obligation. They'd be happy to work with you. And as we take one last look at our disclaimer, I just want to thank you for taking the past roughly 50 minutes out of your Wednesday. I know you have a lot of things to do, but I really appreciate you coming to hear me speak. But mostly, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the Dynamic Duo course. Take your trading to the next level, finish out 2024 strong, and I'll be there with you every step of the way. Thank you so much. I hope to see you in class, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.